3 days from now, after half a century in the service of our country, I shall lay down the responsibilities of office as, in traditional and solemn ceremony, the authority of the presidency is vested in my successor. This evening, I come to you with a message of leave-taking and farewell, and to share a few final thoughts with you, my countrymen. Like every other citizen, I wish the new president and all who will labor with him Godspeed. I pray that the coming years will be blessed with peace and prosperity for all.
We're here, Midway Mall in Sherman, Texas. Now, before we talk about the mall, let's talk about Sherman, Texas. It's a half an hour south of the Oklahoma border and about an hour north of North Dallas. So it's midway between Oklahoma and Dallas. That's why they call it Midway Mall. All right, so let's walk inside, shall we? And nope, and nope, and nope, and nope. Yeah, okay, I swear to God, I thought this was the front entrance. I'm not, like, dumb. I don't think I am. There was no signs. Let's just keep walking. Now, over the past 20 years or so, Dallas has exploded in both population and in actual geographic area. Areas that were once farmland and mostly inhabited by cows, areas like Denton and Frisco, quickly became suburbs of Dallas. Unfortunately for Sherman, that never really happened. They're just way too far north to really sort of feel the effects of Dallas's growth. All right, so now that I've embarrassed myself in front of the internet, let's go find the actual entrance. And here it is, the front entrance to the Midway Mall. You might be able to hear the cars going by on the Texoma Parkway. So really, other than the fact that Sherman is on the way between Dallas and Oklahoma, it really doesn't have a whole lot going for it. I mean, I'm not trying to dunk on Sherman. I mean, I grew up in a pretty, we'll say rural area. I can tell you how important a local mall is to a small community like this, or I should say was. And it's not just this mall either. Small community malls like this are just dying all over. I don't really think the problem is the internet per se. The problem is that malls have gone from necessity to luxury. And for a place like Sherman, where 20% of the population is below the poverty line and the average salary is about $22,000 a year, there's no place for a mall anymore. To contrast, there's North Park Mall, which is in Dallas, located in a well, let's just say it's in an area with a pretty high tax bracket. The mall is filled with a lot of high-end luxury fashion. For example, instead of Hot Topic, they have H&M. Instead of Sears, they have Neiman Marcus. And instead of that weird jewelry place that's like in the corner of like a hallway, they have Rolex. It's a super high-end mall catering to Dallas's elites, and they're doing absolutely fantastic. Even through the it's been constantly jam-packed pretty much every day. I have no idea how much money they're raking in, but they're doing great. I'd make a video about North Park Mall, but security doesn't really like you filming, so I'll have to figure something out first. I'm honestly amazed at how well these plants are doing. I mean, somebody's obviously taking really good care of them. I usually like to include a lot of research about the mall itself, its history, and any sort of notable events or anything of the sort, but it's actually really hard to get any sort of information about this mall anymore. Its website is now defunct. It's now just a parked page. Any brochures or literature that was associated with it is also gone. There's no Wikipedia entry. There's no news clips. Really, the only thing I could find was that, from secondhand sources, was that it was built in 1986, and it did okay for a while, but as you can see, it didn't really pan out. Everybody knows your name, which is a clear HIPAA violation. I don't know why they would advertise that. Being honest here, I really like the aesthetic of this. That sort of bright circus tent and the plants that are well kept. Ugh, just has mall soft written all over it. What I did manage to dig up, however, was a investment brochure from Colliers International, who currently own the mall, as far as I can tell. And this was back in 2019, and looking at some statistics, it looks like pretty much of the 660,000 square feet, about 500,000 of that is vacant. And you can see here, I mean, this entire video, it's just empty store after empty store after empty store. Now this is some spooky aesthetic. Ooh. The mall has, or had, 4 anchors: Sears, Penny's, Dillard's, and Burlington Coat Factory. And I think this is the J.C. Penney. I'm actually kind of surprised that there wasn't any sign scar or any sort of remnant to tell you what it is. But obviously, Penny's and Sears, well, we kind of know that story. Dillard's right now is dark, and Burlington's really the only one that's still surviving, but obviously it doesn't look like that's going to be the case for long. So for those keeping track at home, the only stores that are open in this mall, and remember, the mall had 660,000 square feet. The only stores open were a consignment boutique, a cell phone kiosk, kids jungle gym / arcade / rentable party space, which honestly, like, if I was 10 years old, I would be all over that it looks like a lot of fun. A memorabilia store, and all of those are privately owned. Then there was the Burlington Coat Factory, which is actually closed to the outside of the mall. The only way to get in is through the side. And the cockroach of malls all across America, Bath and Body Works. No matter how bad your mall is doing, there's always going to be either a GNC or a Bath and Body Works, or both. They're unkillable. I don't understand why. If there was a nuclear apocalypse, the only place that would be standing is a GNC inside of some mall. And if someone ever put a Bath and Body Works inside of a Waffle House, then you could hide from God. That would be an impenetrable fortress. You'd be safe forever. Well, we're almost at the end of our tour, and there is one last thing I wanted to talk about. Sherman is 10 miles south of the birthplace of Dwight D. Eisenhower, the President of the United States. In Eisenhower's farewell address, he mentioned something called the military-industrial complex. Before World War II, all of our armaments were manufactured by small, privately owned, let's say mom and pop shops. After World War II, they were handled mostly by big, large, massive corporations like Lockheed and Boeing and GE. He warned that this is really a double-edged sword. On the one hand, these companies can mass produce everything and anything we could possibly need, and the research that these companies produce is invaluable for both the military and for the civilian life. On the other hand, you're putting a lot of power into the hands of a few. And for better or for worse, the lives of millions of Americans are now inexorably tied to these few corporations. Eisenhower thought that this was turning into a situation where we can't live with them and we can't live without them. The United States needs to be able to rein in these companies, but at the same time, we also don't want to adversely affect millions of people who rely on these companies. But not like any of this has anything to do with dead malls, right?
We bring shopping closer to you. Midway Shopping Mall. Convenient parking, more stores too. Midway Shopping Mall. Here's where shopping's fun again. With something.
Chaos reigns.
At Midway Mall.
If you got this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this because I made it for you. That's right, you specifically. No one else, just you. If you liked it, click that thumbs up button. If you didn't like it, it's opposite day and you should express your displeasure by hitting the thumbs up button. I'm surprised nobody told you. I'm sorry. And I noticed you watched the whole thing without kicking the chair in front of you. And since you've been so well behaved, here's some
Bonus cringe.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
All of our men's is $5.50 right now, except for the colognes. They're usually like $14 something. They're $5.50 for today only.
It's very tempting, but thank you anyway.
Alright.